The events of your life have shaped and colored your behavior, feelings, attitudes, and health. Your biology is your biography. Pay attention to both the history of the symptoms as well as its effect. You can begin to discover deeper and ever more subtle causes, ones which may invariably hold the key to healing. That's from a chapter entitled The Language of the Body from Your Body Speaks Your Mind by Deb Shapiro. And welcome to your weekly astrology forecast. My name is Shauna McGrath. I am an astrologer and a counselor in San Diego. And I'm excited to share this week's astrology with you. So this is for the week of March 9th, 2020. This week, we start off with a bang. So we have Mercury stationing direct and a full moon happening on Monday. So Mercury will station direct if you're interested in the timing in the evening Pacific time. So it's 8:48 p.m. Pacific time. And then the full moon is happening at 19 degrees of Virgo. And this is exact on Monday at 10:48 a.m. Pacific time. So it'll be Monday or Tuesday, depending on where you are in the world. So this first piece is really interesting because we have Mercury stationing direct in Aquarius, but it's been moving through this section, this chunk of Pisces in the zodiac. And then we have our full moon, which is in Virgo, and these signs are opposite one another. They're on the same spectrum, the same axis. And so Pisces and Virgo are about healing, they're about compassion, they are about giving of oneself for a purpose, for a cause. And they go about this in very different ways. Virgo is about practical matters. It's about going through things step by step in a system. And Pisces is about kind of having a spiral path and using intuition and using your senses to pick up on what is happening underneath the surface. So I think that Monday might feel a little like things are in flux just because full moon tends to be a time when we're feeling more highly emotional, more highly sensitive. There's typically a lot more going on as well. It's more of a busy time, more of an external time. And then the day that Mercury stations, whether it's stationing retrograde or stationing direct, in this case it's stationing direct on Monday the 9th, it is a time where it's a shift point. So I want you to notice what happens on Monday, how it is that you're feeling. Give yourself time to notice how it is that you're feeling and subtle synchronistic events that come up. The other thing that's happening this week is we still have this cluster of planets in Capricorn. So we have Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and even the South Node in Capricorn. And so the Sun is going to make aspects to Jupiter and Pluto. It's going to sextile Jupiter and Pluto. This is a minor aspect, so it's not something that I think you're going to feel very prominently, but a sextile shows where there is opportunity, where we can take advantage of something. And so Sun with Jupiter and Pluto, and just Sun making a sextile to this chunk of Capricorn in general, it shows where we can take more power into our lives, where we can connect with people who bring a sense of empowerment into our lives. So I want you to notice and watch out for that, and maybe there are some opportunities on the table for you right now that you can take advantage of, in the coming week. Mars will also, so Mars is in Capricorn, it will also sextile Neptune. So again, this is more of an opportunity kind of feeling. And Mars-Neptune to me is very much about creative work, body work, doing anything that gives you a meditative flow, like the physical aspect of Mars, and then the intuitive, creative, and spatial elements of Neptune. And then, so we'll go back to Mercury for just a moment. On Sunday the 15th, Mercury will go forward into Pisces. So Mercury has been retrograde in Pisces for the bulk of its time over the past few weeks. And last week it just barely dipped into the last degrees of Aquarius. And now that it's moving forward this week, it's going to go back over that section of Pisces where it was retrograde. So this is important because it is a going back to the things that were up for evaluation, the things that you were pondering over the last few weeks. And especially it's important to pay attention to the area of life that is associated with the house where you have Pisces in your birth chart. So if you have Pisces in your 4th house, that's going to be home, family, parents. If you have Pisces in your 5th house, that will be children or creative projects or social enjoyment kind of things. If it's 10th house, it's going to be career, etc. You get the point. So it's important to know that just because Pisces has station direct, it doesn't mean that you have all the answers. I wish I could tell you that you do. I don't think we ever have all of the answers. But I see this week as sort of like going back over and reassessing and putting together all of the pieces and then gaining more and more clarity in the coming weeks, especially that point when Pisces starts, or when Mercury starts to move back through Pisces. So that'll be next week. The bulk of that, the week of the 16th and the week of the 23rd, where you're really getting into that material. But the 15th, so I feel like it's kind of a weird, we have like a sandwich this week where Mercury starts off with stationing direct, and then it finishes the week on Sunday the 15th with jumping into the sign of Pisces. So lots to think about this week. 3 tips for you to make the most out of this. Tip number 1 is to stay open this week. I think that's so important because we are in this kind of mental flux with Mercury just freshly stationing direct and the full moon, and this kind of interesting polarity that's being created by the moon, which is your emotional center and what it is that you need to feel nourished, and Mercury, which is mind, thought process, communication, and the story that we tell ourselves. So it's kind of an interesting where you get to have the emotions and the story come together, and to see where those are in alignment or not. So rambling. So that is tip number 1, is to stay open. Tip number 2 is to look for cues. So I want you to look for cues where there is guidance coming to you through synchronicity. And if you're watching this video, I would imagine that's something that is maybe a part of your life in at least a subtle way already. This week's super essential because Mercury is going back over its path. And so I want you to look for ways in which you are receiving divine inspiration or divine guidance. In ancient astrology, in more traditional astrology, Mercury is also associated with divination and synchronicity. So that's super important this week. Tip number 3 is to seek opportunities. So, again, the Sun, Jupiter, Pluto, I think that is a minor aspect, so I don't know that it's something that you're going to be feeling very intensely, but if there are things that you're working on where you're working on Sun, Jupiter, Pluto issues, which are about power and feeling a sense of pride and like healthy ego and taking up more space, this is a great time to work with that energy. So seek opportunities to do that for yourself. All right, so that being said, let's pull a card for the week. So I'm always amazed at how awesome the tarot is. It just gives a nice little practical confirmation on what is happening and what's going on at a more internal level. So if you have a question or something that is on your heart, I want you to hold that in your heart now. Oh, all right. So this is the Knight of Swords. Very dynamic card. So I just, for a second, I want you to sit with this and notice like what your initial reaction is when I presented this to you. What comes up for you? What feelings? Is it exciting? Does it make you feel nervous or some other kind of association? And what does it make you think of in your life right now? Like, where is this energy? Like, look, like he's moving forward. He's like, yeah, he's super excited. The horse is jumping. Where is this energy present in your life or maybe not present in your life? So my associations, Knight of Swords is about moving forward very quickly with ideas. So swords is the mind, the intellect. I think this is totally classically appropriate for Mercury stationing direct. This feels like permission to move forward, permission to like embrace this exciting energy. The Knight is more of like a teenager kind of energy where there is this teenager or like even I would say maiden goddess energy where there is a youthful exuberance. And so this feels like a gift of permission to you to embrace that energy in your life this week. And then also I wanted to pull an animal card for you too for this week. I was just feeling like I wanted to do that. So this is like a little bit of extra support for you. Oh, well, so we got the cosmic egg. So I just learned this week actually that this symbol where there's an egg with a serpent wrapped around it is it's an alchemy symbol. And I'm not an alchemy expert, so I don't know all of the exact specifics of it. Maybe that's something that you're familiar with, and if so, you can leave me a comment. But this is like a very magical, alchemical kind of symbol. The egg is about fertility, birth, new life, and then the serpent is about the mysteries. It's about wisdom and the like even occult things, the wisdom that is unspeakable. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I'm wishing you a super wonderful week. If you are interested in working a little bit more with your personal birth chart, let me know. I am available for astrology readings or astrological counseling. And if you're in San Diego, come and take a class with me. I offer regular classes every Sunday, depending on what's going on in the cosmos. And I am just wishing you a super wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.